All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Matt's Off the Cuff Sports, not Off the Cuff Gaming. I had to stop myself there for a second. Yeah, I could just go back and start this video over, but I don't care. Like I say, I like to do these videos raw and as unedited as possible. I do edit some videos, but and I've got dog hair on me. Ugh. That's the joy of owning a golden retriever. Actually, not owning a golden retriever. She's part of the family, right? Anyway, I wanted to get this video out, and I want to get this out before I start working today, and so it's pretty early in the morning, and I want to get this video done because I didn't get a chance to put it out last night. I got sidetracked, and then I was playing Stellaris during the evening, and you know how those Stellaris is actually not a turn-based strategy, it's a real-time strategy game, but it kind of functions as kind of a turn-based strategy or a similar vein in terms of like the 4X type games. And next thing I know, it was 11:30 at night. So, and I was like, I'm not going to make a video at 11:30 at night because I'll just end up falling asleep, because I've tried to do that before and I just end up going like this. So, there's actually there's some funny videos if you go back through my the first I have two full playthroughs of Horizon Zero Dawn on the channel. My goodness gracious, this dog hair is driving me nuts, or something is in my nose. Anyway, I have two full playthroughs of Horizon Zero Dawn on the channel, and we'll get to the NFL stuff here in just a second. But I got to tell this quick funny story. And in the version I did in 2018, I filmed those over the summertime, and in several of the videos, I fall asleep, and or I doze off. I'm like, downstairs on the PlayStation, and in a couple of them, you can hear me start snoring. The best though was in video. So in the 2020 version I did, when we were all locked in our houses, but during COVID stuff, we I decided to do another playthrough of that, and to be a little more definitive, because I want to make sure I did all the side questing and all that good stuff. So I did a whole other playthrough, probably mostly because I had the time to do it, and and the video number 2. And I specifically remember where I was in the game. I was on the way to visit. I think I was on the way to visit Karst, actually, to get the Tripcaster or something like that. Anyway, I was going through this village, and I stopped because Beth called me upstairs to do something, and in the background when I go upstairs, and I leave the game like running, and I didn't pause the video. I left for like 10-15 minutes. But during that time, you hear some rustling in the background and some crunching and stuff like that. And you're probably like thinking to yourself, what in the world is this noise? And I come back downstairs and I start yelling at the dog like, Christy, what did you do? And what had happened was I had a package of Oreo cookies that was sitting there that I was having a snack. And she got into the box of Oreo cookies and ate all of the cookies that were in the tray. And you can hear her eating them in video number 2 in the 2020 version of that playlist that I did. So that's a funny thing. Maybe I'll link it in the description below if you want to hear that. So anyway, well, we're 4 minutes into this, and I've wasted enough of your time telling funny stories about my dog and video games. So we are ready for week 7. So week 6 came and went. Let me switch over here to my sheet. I'm going to make a little different. This is something this was a lot of work to create this. So I'm just going to create just very simple, very simple deal here instead of all this nonsense over like this. My preseason picks for last week went 10-5, and my up to the date picks also went 10-5. Now, some of the picks were different because I did mix a couple things up from my preseason picks, but all told, everything was the same. I was 10-5 with my picks. I was also 10-5 against the spread. A couple of those didn't hit. I was actually doing really well against the spread, but A couple of them I didn't hit, but I hit the Jets. I picked them, but I picked the Eagles to win the game, so I was tracking both. I'm not sure if I want to keep doing it that way or if I just want to do. Well, actually, I think I will still keep doing both because, like, if you guys follow Tom Grossi Posse, Packer Nation, you know that guy, the guy that visited all 30 stadiums over the summertime. He did he does weekly picks as well, and he just picks the games in terms of who he thinks is going to win or lose. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say who I think is going to win, but then I'm also going to pick. I'm going to pick the spread as well. Where I think the spread's going to go. So I potentially could have two different picks for that, and so I want to kind of compare those and see how I would do it with each one. So again, like last time, what I'm going to do is if I, oops. What did I do here? Oh, gosh, dang it. It's over here. I'm looking at OBS here because my camera is right here above my second screen. But this right here that you're seeing is on that monitor. Where's my hand? That monitor. I can't even point to the thing the right way. Oh, goodness. The magic of YouTube. So, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead. I will highlight in gold the pick that I'm going to make, and then I will highlight in gold which side of the spread that I'm taking. Oh, geez, that's not what I want to do. Okay. All right, here we go. First matchup of the week: Saints versus the Jaguars. This is the Thursday night game. This game will be taking place tonight, and so the Jaguars are the home team facing the Saints. Saints are actually favored in this game. Is that correct? Let's switch over here to our... Yeah. I think it was probably opened as a pick'em. Let's see. They were 3-point. New Orleans was originally a 3-point favorite, and now it's gone down. I'm actually really surprised. Are we sure this game is? This game is in Jacksonville, right? Why does it not say? Oh, travel to New Orleans. So is the top okay? So that on my spreadsheet, I'm sorry, you're not seeing what I'm seeing here. I'm looking at a different screen. Let me look one more thing here real quick. Let's check out. I want to verify what it says on the screen here. I think, let's see, Buccaneers and Falcons. It's in Tampa. Bears and Raiders. Where's Bears and Raiders? It is in Chicago. Okay, so the home team is listed on top. Okay, that helps me out tremendously here. I copied this text out of that betting site and then put it in here and kind of did just a little minor formatting. Okay, well let's go ahead and let's go back to the games. Okay, so Saints versus Jags. The Saints are favored in this game. I'm a little surprised. Probably, I think this line probably has to do with the fact that they're at home. Now, the old adage is that you used to get 3 points for being at home automatically. I think that's shifted in recent years. Derek Carr has not been good this year, and I don't think he's a very good quarterback regardless. Trevor Lawrence was dinged up a little bit. It is coming off a short week. Thursday night games are really are odd, to be honest with you. They are. Sometimes you just don't get the team's best performance. The games a lot of times end up being very vanilla because teams don't have a lot of time to put in or to practice. I'm not gonna say like fancy plays or anything, but you're gonna see them run a lot of vanilla looks. Same thing with a lot of base defense. Even though the Saints are at home, I am going with the Jaguars in this game just because Trevor Lawrence is playing. And he's going to, and I think the Jaguars are just a better team than the Saints. Saints are highly overrated in my opinion, and I'm going with the Jaguars in this game. So when I actually picked when I picked the underdog to win, obviously I'm going to be picking them. I'm going with them to win outright, so I have to take their side of the spread. There is no point spread; just the underdog needs to win. Buccaneers versus the Falcons. This game being played in Tampa. Buccaneers 2.5-point favorites over the Falcons. Look, Desmond Ridder is the ultimate roller coaster quarterback. He's not really that great, but now Baker Mayfield has been playing better this year. And the team seems to be rallying around him, but they really got stymied last week by Detroit. I think this is a good spot for the Buccaneers to bounce back on. If you look at the money line here, it's fairly even here. Low over under 37.5 points. Vegas is thinking this is going to be a pretty low scoring game, 20-17 type of game. I'm actually going to go with the Buccaneers to win this game, and I'm gonna go ahead and have them cover. Dang it! Stop it! I'm gonna have them cover the spread as well. Bears versus the Raiders. Bears just lost their quarterback, Justin Fields. Definitely, he played one really good game and then he got hurt. The Raiders are not a fantastic team, but they've got enough going their way. Now, this game is in Chicago. This game could be just one of the worst games of the week. When I say one of the worst games, it could be like a 10-7 type game. This 37.5, I would actually bet the under on this. I don't believe in either of these offenses. The Bears are going to be starting a guy from Shepherd College. I don't even know his name. I just know he's from Shepherd College. And there's got to be better options than this guy. The Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo taken to the hospital. Both teams are playing their backup quarterbacks. I'm still going to go with the Raiders here just because I think they have a better roster. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears find a way to... Jiminy Christmas. Everything about this game screams pick the underdog, but I can't see the backup for the Bears with that roster. But the Raiders still don't have a very... This is why this is where they really struggle with games like this. I'm gonna go with the Raiders to win the game. I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the Raiders to cover the 3 points as well. Colts versus the Browns. Browns going to be playing P.J. Walker again. Obviously, the Browns have a tremendous defense. We saw that last week. Colts now, Gardner Minshew is going to be their quarterback going forward with Anthony Richardson out for the season with shoulder surgery. Cleveland's offense is pretty bad. Obviously, losing Deshaun Watson, losing Nick Chubb. They don't have a whole lot going for them on the offensive side of the ball. They can still run the ball a little bit. But their bread and butter is their defense. The Colts, on the other hand, they gave all this money to Jonathan Taylor only to watch their quarterback go down. And, I mean, Gardner Minshew is a capable backup. He's everything you want in a backup quarterback. He's a guy that he's a professional. He's been around for several years. He's not going to embarrass you. That being said, he's not going to win you a ton of games either. The big thing about Minshew is that he doesn't look off defenders on his second and third reads, if he even gets to a second and third read. He loves to stare down his receivers, and which leads to a lot of interceptions. Give me the Browns here to win and cover this 2.5 point number. Ravens and the Lions. Ravens 3-point favorites over the Lions here. All the money coming in on this game has been on the Lions. The public money has been very strong. I actually think that with the game being played in Baltimore, I think the Lions are actually due for a letdown here. They haven't lost since their overtime Week 2 game against the Seahawks. The Ravens didn't play tremendously well last week, even though they did get the win. But Lamar Jackson, going up against this Lions defense, I think the Lions defense doesn't match up very well with what the Ravens want to do on offense, and I think the Ravens defense is better than what the Lions are gonna, or at least can slow down what Jared Goff. The Lions have been doing a lot of fantastic things this year, and at 5-1, they're a great start to the season. They're one of the best stories of the year as well, but. In this one, I am going to take the Ravens to win and to cover that 3-point spread. Actually, I take that back. I'm taking the Ravens to win, but I'm going to take the Lions to cover. I think this is going to be a field goal game, and so at 3 points, if the Ravens win by 3 points, the way I have it picked here, I'll get the win here. Against the spread. Patriots and Bills. This is one of the biggest. We had last week. We had 3 games that were just had blowout written all over them, and for the most part, that happened. Even though the Chiefs, while they covered the 10.5-point spread, it didn't look like a blowout. But when you really break it down, the Chiefs really did blow the Broncos out, even though they only scored 19 points. That was. They just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. They kicked 4 field goals in the game and almost had a 5th. Patriots and the Bills here. The Bills have been struggling offensively for 2 straight weeks, and I'm not really sure what their problems are. That they have all their players back on defense. They've lost Matt Milano for seemingly the entire season, and their secondary just has not been tremendous when they're going up against teams that can throw the ball. Now they did manage to shut down the Dolphins quite a bit, and so you give them lots of props for that. But something's going on with this Bills offense, and I think it all starts and it begins and ends with Josh Allen, and Josh Allen has been incredibly reckless and has been trying to do too much with the ball lately. Now, all this being said, I'm definitely picking the Bills to win the game. The Patriots they don't have enough to beat them. The question is what do I do with this 8.5 points? I went with the Bills to cover the 14 points against the Giants last week, and they almost lost the game and just managed to squeak out a 4-point win. Do I want to? The Patriots do have a decent defense. It's not legendary like the defenses they used to have when Tom Brady was their quarterback. But they do have a decent enough defense that I think they could potentially give the Bills some fits. The problem is that the Patriots, just like the New York Giants, I don't have any faith that they're going to be able to score at all with Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. It doesn't matter who their quarterback is. Their offense is terrible. But all that being said, I think if they do enough here, the game is in New England. These rivalry games are kind of strange. We saw, the Bills' offensive, fireworks they had 2 years ago. There was a game against the Patriots where it was 6-3. Now, granted, that was that was a kind of a weather-induced game, and the Bills lost a game when Mac Jones only threw 3 passes the entire game. But I'm going to go ahead and take the number on the Patriots side. I think the Bills will probably win this game by a touchdown, but give me the 8.5 points there for the Patriots. Giants and the Commanders. This game being played in New York. The Commanders, their biggest problem is what do they have with Sam Howell? Sam Howell is like I mentioned in the video 2 times ago. Sam Howell is a decent enough quarterback. He doesn't have a tremendous offensive line, but he holds the ball way too long, and he takes a lot of unnecessary sacks. I can only imagine what Eric Bieniemy is going through his mind when he's dealing with a quarterback like Sam Howell, who's got some talent, but just he's going from working with Patrick Mahomes to this guy, and it's got to be somewhat maddening. Now the Giants, they didn't score a touchdown against the Bills. I did watch almost that entire game. Tyrod Taylor, he does seem to have a better grasp of the offense than Daniel Jones did. Even though I think Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor, they're both not good. I'm trying to talk myself into taking the Giants here, but neither of these teams are fantastic. The Commanders sitting at 3-3. The Commanders are like this every single year. They win games that you wouldn't think they would, and then they lose games that they probably should win. I think coming off an emotional loss like the Giants did, I think that the Giants are actually in a place where they could actually pull out a victory. So I'm going to actually take the upset here. I'm going to take the Giants to pull off the upset at home over Washington. Seahawks and the Cardinals. Seahawks 7.5-point favorites. That's an interesting number there. They're just begging you to put money on the Cardinals with that number there. Actually, no, they're begging you to put money on the Seahawks, because if it was at 7, they'd be begging you to put money on the Cardinals. Because there's a touchdown, the Seahawks would still cover. Arizona they've been scrappy this year. They've only managed to win one game, but they're far from one of the worst. They are one of the worst teams in the league. Definitely bottom 5 to 8 teams. But they've been very competitive in their games. They didn't cover last week, so they're now 4 and they were what was it last week? Hang on. Oh, I must have. Oh, hold on. They were 3-2 against the spread as of before the last week's game, so they didn't cover last week. So they're still 3-3. So they were 3-3 against the spread coming into this week, which is pretty decent for a team that's only managed to win one game and was really not competitive in a couple of them. The Seahawks have some problems on offense as well. I watched a good portion of this game when Seattle played Cincinnati, when Cincinnati really had no business winning the game. But look, when you have a team that has very poor offensive flow, and Seattle's quarterback Geno Smith, he has very little awareness in the pocket and just took some just awful sacks. And maybe you do credit the Cincinnati defense there, but you've got to have. There were several times that he would spin out and he would spin right into someone who's rushing from the side who actually hadn't even beaten their man, and you just have to have more awareness than that. Now the game is in Seattle. I do think the Seahawks are going to win this game. I'm going to go ahead and pick them to win. I'm actually going to go with the Cardinals and the points though on the spread. I think this is going to be a 3 to 7 point game. I think the Cardinals can cover that 7.5 point number. Rams and the Steelers. This game being played in Los Angeles. Steelers go cross country. This is a very weird matchup. You don't see the Rams and Steelers matching up too much anymore. I'm going to actually blow this up a little bit so it's a little easier to see. There we go. We only have a few games left to talk about anyway. Rams and Steelers. Rams sit at. They're one of these teams. I think they can really make a run. The same with the Steelers. They both teams sit at 3-3. Kenny Pickett actually when he actually was able to when he was able to audible out of the plays that Matt Canada was coming down with in the game last week, he was actually fairly successful in running that offense when he was able to do his own thing. Matt Canada is a terrible offensive coordinator, and honestly, I don't know why he's still employed. The Rams do have Cooper Kupp back, And if you look at the money line here, they got a fairly significant edge here, even though they're the over under at 43.5. I thought that would be a little. I thought that would be higher than that. I think that's interesting. Um, I would actually take the over here. I think this is a classic example of teams that I think this is a get right game for both teams in terms of their offense. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game than most people are going to give it credit for. I see kind of a 31-28 type game. I am going to take the Rams to win the game, and why does it keep doing this? Stop! It's like it thinks I'm double clicking in the cell. So I'm going to take the Rams to win. Now, do I think that if I think 31-28, I should take the Steelers in the points here. So I am going to take the Steelers to cover that 3 point number there. Chiefs and Chargers. This game being played in Kansas City. Chiefs 5.5 point favorites. The big news that the Chiefs made this week is that they've traded for Mecole Hardman, who's coming back to the Chiefs after only being gone for 6 weeks. Well, when I say game time, being gone 6 weeks. And the Chiefs basically paid nothing to get him. They swapped a 7th and a 6th round pick with the Jets in 2025. So not this coming draft, but the one after it. And the Jets are still going to take the cap hit this year. The Chiefs are going to only owe him signing bonus money, which won't affect the cap. So the Chiefs basically swapped a 7th and a 6th round pick and picked up a wide receiver who knows the system. It's a huge win. I don't know how in the world the Jets were able to reconcile this with anybody within their front office. This was the absolute steal by Brett Veach and the Chiefs. I don't expect Mecole Hardman to get much time in this week, to be honest with you. He might see the game. He might see the field for maybe 10 snaps, if that. I don't know what he's going to have in the offense impact going forward. His first couple years in the league, he was really kind of a deeper threat, kind of vertically stretched the field. Not a great route runner, as great as like Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce was. But in the last couple of years, he was more used as a gadget player, throwing him the bubble screen to the line. Anyway, this is not a Mecole Hardman breakdown. Let's talk about the Chiefs and Chargers here. Brandon Staley is a coach, like I mentioned last week, who I think is trying to get fired by some of the decisions that he makes. I don't understand half of what he does. Sometimes he goes pure analytics, and sometimes he throws analytics out the door. And Brandon Staley is the most frustrating coach ever, especially if you're a Chargers fan. And Kansas City obviously is not the quote-unquote high-flying offense they've been in the past couple of years, but their offense is still really good, and people are not giving it credit, I think, where it's due. People are looking at it as like, well, the Chiefs, something's wrong with the Chiefs' offense. Well, look, the offense in scoring is down across the NFL. The Chiefs are 7th in the league in total offense, in total scoring offense. And and that's with them being down. The whole league is down. Defense has actually been playing really well this year. Either that or maybe the quarterback plays down. Now, that is definitely true. Quarterback play across the league is much less than it has been, including Patrick Mahomes, who has thrown more interceptions than we're accustomed to, and his completion percentage in the mid-60s. You'd like to see it a little higher, but it is what it is. In this game here, I think that the Chargers still dealing with injuries. Obviously, no Mike Williams. Austin Eckler did come back last week for the Chargers, but was highly ineffective running the football. He's not the best running back anyway. He's really good as a pass-catching running back. Kansas City here, what scares me here with this game for the Chiefs is that the Chargers know that this is a must-win game for them, and their backs are against the ball. They're sit at 2-3 after that devastating loss to the Cowboys, which is a game they never should have lost. When I say never should have lost, is that the Cowboys played terrible. Dak played pretty well, but the Cowboys overall didn't play that great. The Chargers should have taken advantage of it, especially being at home, but they didn't, and they lost. And sitting at 2-3, if they lose this game to the Chiefs to fall to 2-4, I think with so many other teams now in front of them, anything can happen. Obviously, the Chargers started 1-4, 0-4 in 1994, and they came back and won the division at 11-5. So Again, anything can happen, but a loss here would be really devastating for their playoff chances as they get really behind the eight ball here. I do like the Chiefs to win this game, but I do like the Chargers to cover the 5.5 points. I think this is going to be a close game, the 3 to 4 point victory. So give me the Chiefs to win, but give me the Chargers to cover the 5.5. Broncos and Packers. This is a game that is, on paper, 3 weeks ago, you would have thought that the Packers would be like a 4 to 6 point favorite here. They're on the road in Denver as a 1.5 favorite. So really, you could be construed as a 4 point favorite, obviously for the Packers here. The Broncos are just an absolute mess on offense right now. Nearly getting shut out by the Chiefs, only getting a touchdown against Kansas City because of favorable, just a blown call by officiating that kept a drive alive. And Green Bay has really, really underperformed this year. Jordan Love has had times where he's looked really good, but he's been pretty inconsistent this year. It's hard for me to really go with the Packers here because the only way the Packers win is if they run the football. I'm not convinced Jordan Love is a good quarterback. I thought he could be, but he's just all evidence to the contrary. I think the Broncos, they know their season is over, but they always have these rallying appearances, and the game is at home. I'm going to take the Broncos here on the upset to beat the Packers, and this loss will really hurt the Packers' chances of winning that division. I'm going to skip over the Eagles and Dolphins real quick. I'm going to go to the last game here because I'm going to talk a little more about Eagles and Dolphins. Vikings and the 49ers. This game being played in Minnesota. 49ers coming off a loss where it was somewhat controversial with some of the officiating down the stretch. Look, I kind of felt for the 49ers a little bit. I thought it was a bad call that Cleveland got. That being said, you have to be better than the officiating. And Brock Purdy was really bad all day long. Finally facing a defense of their caliber, and he went in there and just laid an absolute egg. Minnesota did get a victory last week to get out the schneid a little bit. The 49ers, though, are just way too talented. A lot of this depends on what's going to happen with their skilled players who sustained some injuries. I do like the 49ers to win this game. But I am going to take the Vikings to cover the 7-point number there. I think it's going to be a closer game than some people think. I think the Vikings do play better at home than they do on the road. So give me the Vikings to at least cover that, but I do think the Niners are going to get the win. All right, so the game of the week, though, Eagles and Dolphins. That's going to be on Sunday Night Football. Tremendous matchup in prime time. Obviously, the Dolphins with the best offense in football with Tua Tagovailoa, hitting Waddle and Hill, over the top. Just tremendous offense. They stretch the field vertically. They have a good running game too. And now with A-Chain being out, Raheem Mostert is still a good running back. He's not a tremendous running back. Sometimes gets overrated, but Mostert is a quality running back, and that offense is just humming along right now. I don't see any reason why they don't keep that offense going. Now the game is in Philadelphia. The Eagles coming off a loss of their own to the Jets, kind of an inexplicable loss on their part as well. Jalen Hurts has not played well this year. 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And he's been turning the ball over. He has not looked the same. And I don't know if this is just a product of the schedule that they had last year, which was very, very easy. They were able to get a lot of wins, and sometimes getting wins breeds confidence. Obviously, the Eagles started 5-0. Now they're 5-1. So they are sitting at 5-1. They're not in bad shape, obviously. They're in tremendous shape here. But their next 8 games are absolutely brutal. And I could honestly see a scenario where they go 2-6 in their next 8 games. And if they go 2-6 in their next 8 games, where does that put them? That puts them at, is that 7-7? Is that right? They're at 5-1 now, so they get 7, yeah. Yeah, that would put them at 7-7 after those games. I think that's going to happen. Probably not. I think they would be happy to come out of that 4-4, and 5-3 would be just absolutely tremendous. But the Eagles' defense has not been the same this year. They still are almost unstoppable on third and fourth and short. Just the play that they were now calling the brotherly shove, which whatever, people make funny names out of anything. Philadelphia they're still really, really, really good. And they just actually signed Julio Jones. Did anyone pick up on that? That was a weird pickup, I thought. I think that their defense needs more help than their offense does. But Miami also, this is a matchup of two teams that, you would think that the Eagles would be better on defense than they would be on offense, but their offense, while it hasn't been clicking on all cylinders this year, their defense has been a huge letdown, especially their secondary. You can definitely throw the ball on them. And that's where I think the Dolphins are going to have the advantage here. I am surprised by this spread here, 2.5 points favoring the Eagles. This is really Vegas saying that they don't believe in the Dolphins traveling. Now, the old adage is that offense doesn't travel, but defense does. And the Dolphins do not have a good defense. The Dolphins' defense is really, really bad. And they haven't been able to really shut down any good passing attack. They got absolutely shredded by Josh Allen and the Bills. I do think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think this is going to be a 38-35 type game. A game that pushes the number into the 60s, maybe even 70 total points. I think it's going to blow the 51.5 out of the water for the over/under. I'm just not a big believer in the Eagles. I think the Eagles have been really, really overrated this year. I am going to take the Dolphins to win outright as underdogs. On the road in Philly, I think the Dolphins really make a statement that they're one of the teams to beat in the AFC. Obviously, I'm a Chiefs fan, and I think this is building up to a crescendo for both teams to only have one loss as they head to that game in Germany, and they would both be 8-1, which would be very similar to when the Chiefs played the Rams back in 2018 when they were both 9-1, and just that unbelievable offensive explosion we saw when the Rams beat the Chiefs 54-51. I see a similar type game happening in Germany here in a couple of weeks, so that's going to be an interesting one to watch. All right, so that's my picks here. Again, sorry for the longer video. Man, I sometimes I just end up chatting too long. But those are my picks. So my picks just straight up: Jaguars, Buccaneers, Raiders, Browns, Ravens, Bills, Giants, Seahawks, Rams, Chiefs, Broncos, Dolphins, 49ers. And then you can see where at the points where I took either the points or just took the underdog outright. So anyway, those are my picks for week 7. We'll be back next week and we break down, how I did. Last week I was 10-5. So not too shabby. And then if we look at the preseason picks, I am 65-28. So I'm at 70% here on the preseason picks. So we'll see what happens. Now in the preseason games, when I picked that, I actually picked the Chiefs to lose here in the preseason here. So one of these two are going to be wrong. Either my preseason pick or my week-to-week pick is going to be wrong with the Chiefs. So we'll see which one. I'm hoping the preseason pick is incorrect. But I picked the Chiefs to lose this game because it seemed like the Chargers always played the Chiefs close at home and always really have a chance to win late. And I just thought that the Chiefs were just going to get tripped up. They always seem to get tripped up at home in a home game every year. And so this is the one I picked to get tripped up in, but I do think the Chiefs are going to come out and win this game. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel for more content, and I will talk to you later. Have a great day.